The written phase of the General Certificate of Education, the GCE, has kicked off in examination centers across the country. The exams began today with economics paper 1 and geology for the ordinary and advanced levels. In this newscast, we look at the conduct in Douala and Boya. Also, officials of the Douala City Council have warned inhabitants of Douala 3 to stop promoting urban disorder along the access road leading to the Japoma Sports Complex. The city mayor of Douala, Roger Mbasandine, has promised a massive crackdown on those who promote urban disorder on that stretch. And lawyers of Thomas Tagem, an Anglophone detainee who died in hospital, chained to his hospital bed, have condemned what they say is human rights violations. According to them, the deceased was subjected to inhumane conditions. We shall be hearing from one of his lawyers in this newscast. Those are top stories. Good evening and thanks for joining us. You're watching the Primetime Newscast on STV. Just as we told you in the headlines, the General Certificate of Education has kicked off in examination centers across the national territory. The exams began this morning with economics paper 1 and geology for the ordinary and advanced level. It should be noted that the GCE is the official examination of the English subsystem of education. Our reporter Ladonet only visited a school here in Douala and sought to know how the exams kicked off. Her report.
Check all these things. Have you gone on? Go, your name should be on the list. You should not be looking for your name. You look at the... Go and...
Today, 8th of August 2020, marks the beginning of the written session for the GCE Ordinary and A-level exams in the English subsystem of education all across the nation's territory. Here at the government's bilingual high school, Deido, in the Douala 1 municipality, different measures were taken so as to help mitigate the spread of the COVID-19 virus.
Today in GBHS Deido, our students are writing O and A-level examinations. We are expecting 2,084 students for both O and A levels. We have taken all our dispositions for the children to be free of the COVID-19. If you can see already at the gate, we have buckets of water and soap to wash our hands. We have insisted that all of them should wear their mask, and in classes we have used the distanciation.
The exam started at exactly 8 a.m. with economics paper 1 and geology.
The candidates this morning are writing both papers, A-level and O-level. A-level economics, O-level economics and geology 1. They are all paper 1. The GCE board has taken very serious measures. They have sent all GCE board workers here. All questions are conserved in this center. And pilot centers come here and take their questions every morning. They go and give. When they finish writing at 9:30, they bring the answer sheets and keep them back here. And take paper 2 and go in the evening and bring them back here. So no other center keeps questions except this center. And the questions are being managed by the GCE board representatives in this center.
The students came ready to grab their final tickets into high school and the university.
I prepared it well. I woke up at 5 o'clock. I read my book again to be sure. After reading, I went and bathed now, and I prayed before coming to school. Yes, I'm ready.
These exams are scheduled to end on the 27th of August with philosophy.
Candidates identification number. This is not enough to make any mistake.
In similar fashion, the GCE examinations has also kicked off in the southwest region. In the chief town, Boya, the respect of barrier measures against COVID-19 was of utmost importance to all examinations that were visited. Examination officials say that the exams have kicked off hitch-free despite the socio-political situation and the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's have the reaction of one of the chief of centers as well as 2 students who spoke to us after the first papers.
I've been operating the last semester of the year or term of the year following the instructions from the hierarchy as per the ministerial instructions. We did put in place workshop points, and we have buckets, we have sanitizers, and we got thermoflash to check children temperatures on their way in, including you. So any person crossing our gate will have to take a temperature, then you wash your hands, then can we discuss. So this morning, the exams have taken off very well. All our candidates are there in a serene atmosphere. You can see for yourself. The place is as if there is nothing happening because all the candidates are in the hall, seated quietly and going about answering their questions. So the invigilators all are wearing face masks. All the candidates are wearing face masks. All invigilators have hand gloves. So in short, they are respected.
Any incidents so far?
No.
Have there been measures to ensure that latecomers are well treated?
Yes, latecomers to a certain limit. We have not registered latecomers who have gone beyond the prescriptions of the GC board.
I'm expecting good results. Let's say 6 papers.
Yeah, look at some of the challenges, maybe with the coronavirus and with the crisis in the two regions, that we thought maybe it had been disturbing your studies. Do you think it's going to be like any obstacle to you?
Actually, not really, sir. Not really. Because, even, let's say about 3 years ago, the crisis started, so you never stopped the GC, you never stopped people from learning. So right now, the corona.
We were just demoralized from our head because we never knew we would meet such questions from the
The mayor of Douala has warned the population of Douala 3 to desist from occupying pavements along the access road leading to the Japoma Sports Complex. Roger Mbassa Dine sounded the warning after he oversaw a massive crackdown on urban disorder on that stretch of road. Details with John Paul Sama.
Another cleanup campaign where recalcitrant occupants of road space have not been spared, as the team led by Littoral Governor Samuel Dieudonné Vaha-Diboa reached the site of the newly constructed road at Total Kolbong, leading to the Japoma Stadium of unlicensed occupants. A day which is back to ensure cleanliness reigns in the economic capital.
First step of a long-lasting campaign which we are going to start in the next few weeks. The aim of this campaign is to free the roads and all public space so that people can move freely. So it's not just an operation for today. It is a long-lasting campaign that we are going to start.
Defaulters have thus been warned that sanctions will follow for those who insist on littering the city.
To put sanctions for those who don't want to follow the restriction we are going to establish.
This campaign's target of keeping the city clean also aims at winning the prize for the most clean city amongst the 3 to host the upcoming African Nations Championship launched by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development.
Public joints like bars, restaurants and even game houses do not have public toilets in the city of Douala. People who are pressed have no option but to ease themselves in the full glare of onlookers. Our reporter Christel Asexuele visited Rue King Aqua and our reports.
Public toilets are almost absent in public joints like outdoor food restaurants and drinking spots in the littoral region. At Rue King Aqua in the Douala 1 municipality, where these joints are sprawled out, some of these outdoor food restaurant owners we met in full activity this noon told us without mixing words that they don't have toilets for clients. There are no toilets here. In the meantime, our clients ease themselves in the gutters behind this building. Toilets, which are supposed to ease things for people who are pressed, are virtually non-existent.
Customers who frequent some of these joints, however, have sought out other alternatives to avoid themselves being embarrassed in public with an urge to ease themselves.
As concerned that my office is not far from here, so I cross here for 1 or 2 drinks, then I go back to my office. So with that, I don't have any difficulties with that.
There is therefore a dire need for officials to consider constructing public toilets where people who are hard-pressed in public can ease themselves.
Members of Pinnacle Club have donated COVID-19 prevention kits to the Kumba District Hospital. The event, which took place on Wednesday, is part of the association's 20th anniversary. Christel Asexuele tells us that it was supervised by the Paramount Chief of Kumba, Fon Ekoko Mukete IV. Her report.
The need to provide healthcare practitioners with adequate personal protective equipment to fight this common enemy, the coronavirus, was the main motive of the donations of Pinnacle Club Douala to the Kumba District Hospital. The handing over ceremony of this donation to the director of the Kumba District Hospital, Dr. Paul Inongenengang, took place yesterday, August 5, 2020 in Kumba, championed by the Fon and paramount ruler of the Bafo people, Fon Mukete IV Ekoko, who personally handed over this donation to the director of the Kumba District Hospital.
I've been privileged to be given some support material for a fight against COVID. And 2 days ago, His Royal Highness Ekoko informed me that the items have been handed to him. And so this morning we decided to come. Close to me is my general supervisor, the pharmacy attendant, one of my work charges, and the store's accountant. And what we have seen is quite amazing.
These materials, which are meant for the personnel of the Kumba District Hospital, include alcohol-based hand sanitizers, medical boots of various sizes, disposable jumpsuits, 60-liter buckets, and surgical gloves. Committed to effort in the defeat of the COVID-19 virus, the Pinnacle Club Douala is used to carrying out such donations. They also support orphanages and disadvantaged persons and communities. And for the 20th anniversary celebrations, the Kumba District Hospital was their choice, especially as this is a particular challenging time for communities facing this COVID-19 pandemic.
In line with the fight against COVID-19 in the country, the Survival Initiative has made a significant donation to the Protestant Hospital in Gaundari, Adamawa region. Ladonette Oni tells us that the gesture has been appreciated by the beneficiaries. Details in this report.
Je vous remets de manière solennelle ce matériel pour vous permettre de mieux prendre en charge vos malades à l'hôpital norvégien de Gaundari.
The Protestant Hospital of Gaundari in the Adamawa region was next to benefit from the support of the Survival for Cameroon initiative as they pursue their fight against the novel coronavirus.
Si aujourd'hui, Survie Cameroun arrive avec du matériel pour aider l'hôpital dans la prise en charge des cas de...
Survival for Cameroon is coming to us today with materials so as to help take care of COVID-19 patients and other diseases. The impression we have is of great satisfaction, and we feel honored because if Survival for Cameroon has thought of our hospital, then it means from afar they saw that Gaundari Hospital is capable.
Survie Cameroun a pensé à notre hôpital. Cela voudrait dire que de loin, on a vu que l'hôpital de Gaundari peut faire quelque chose.
These donations were made on Tuesday, 4th of August 2020 and comprises the following equipment.
Le matériel est composé de manière schématique, des équipements qui permettent
The material is schematically composed, equipment that will help medical personnel to help stop the spread of the COVID-19. They include hand sanitizers, face masks, which will help facilitate the patient's care. We have oxygen concentrators. We brought 2, an electric blood pressure monitor, a nasal cannula, an automatic ECG, a lot of materials which will help aid the healing process of patients. or help in the follow-up of these patients.
Médicaments dont ils ont besoin, soit alors d'assurer un monitoring de ces patients-là lorsqu'ils sont pris en charge.
Aiding the citizens overcome these trying times have been at the top of their priority. Cameroonians in and out of Cameroon have awoken to this situation, and resources have been mobilized. Equipments have been bought, and today we have handed over these equipments to the Gaoundéré Hospital. We hope it will help ameliorate the way patients are being taken care of here, and also for the COVID-19 patients. It will also help non-COVID-19 patients. Before the town of Gaoundéré, different donations had been made in Douala, Fumban, and Betoa.
The enterprise upgrading program has today schooled some enterprises in the economic capital Douala on the required norms in the production of agro-industrial products. This is to ensure that these products consumed by the public are hazard-free. Details with Josephine Binzi.
The reinforcement of entrepreneurial capacities has been the pillar objective of the National Upgrading Program to meet Cameroon's future economic objectives.
After diagnosis, we elaborate, if you want, the upgrading plan. And after this elaboration, we have to sign convention. That means to let everybody know that these are obligation of the enterprises and that obligation of BMN.
Agro-industrial production has also been discussed to ensure they are produced according to the required norms.
And we produced this guide before COVID, but we could not distribute it. And today it is appropriate for us to give those guides to the enterprises. It is just to show what they have to do for the agro industry production. You know that for that it is a product that we consume, and we have to be sure that everything will be produced in norms.
The initiative has greatly been lauded by some beneficiaries, as this is a timely intervention where enterprises are faced with economic fallouts.
BMW is going to help our enterprise for our certification for quality work and quality health, following the epidemic nights in the country for hygiene perfect. It's going to develop most of our activities in the company.
The National Upgrading Program has formally visited other companies in the month of June, backed by the Ministry of Economy. Empowering enterprises who have been hit by the COVID-19 pandemic has been their primordial motive today, August 6, 2020, as well as reinforce their entrepreneurial capacities.
The management of the Douala Detainee Hospital says that it is now ready to receive patients irrespective of their ailments. This follows the disinfection of the facility against COVID-19 and other infections. Details with Josephine Binzi.
A disinfection exercise against the COVID-19 has been carried out at the Detainee Hospital in the Douala 1 municipality.
It is important that the disinfection exercise is permanent because the coronavirus is not the only health situation we are faced with. There are other diseases that people are suffering from, so this is going to be regular. We already have a team that is ready to do this job, so we call on the population to have confidence in us.
Being one of the welcoming grounds for COVID-19 infected persons, the center is now at peace with some of the measures taken for the isolation of persons infected with the virus.
This area is a ground that used to harbor COVID-19 patients. What I'm trying to say is there is no contact between COVID-19 patients and the rest of the sick population. I confidently tell the population that when they come.
Ils ne peuvent pas contracter le Covid.
The free screening procedure put in place by government to appropriately monitor infection rates on ground has largely been welcomed by the population, as he expounds further.
Les Camerounais ont répondu présent à cette.
The population has positively responded to the massive testing exercise, and I'm glad to share with you that the statistics have really dropped as we advance, and it is a good sign, and that the measures put in place by the government is bearing fruit.
Ce qui montre que la politique mise en place par le gouvernement porte des fruits.
The sanitary state of the health sector is very paramount during this time of the pandemic. The Director General, alongside the disinfection team, was part of the exercise that took place between 10 a.m. and 12 a.m. today, August 8, 2020.
Lawyers of Thomas Tangem, an Anglophone detainee who died in hospital chained to his bed, have bemoaned the human rights violations. What they say, according to the lawyers, the deceased was subjected to inhuman conditions. They also revealed that access to him was restricted by prison guards since his arrest 3 years ago. John Paul Sama spoke to one of his lawyers and a report.
The death has been reported of Thomas Nganyu Tangem, an Anglophone detainee who is said to have given up the ghost in chains, as his lawyers recount.
Well, if you talk about the circumstances of negligence, gross negligence on the part of the prison administration and that of the justice administration, because the prisons they respond directly to the Ministry of Justice. In fact, we lost somebody who we think was not supposed to die, because for 5 months he has been ill and sickness has been eating him in prison in the view of the administration. And they did not react. They block access to lawyers, block access to the family members. I remember when he used to come at times ailing, and we would try around to call family members, but they were far off. Those that are around in Yaoundé, at times before they reach the court hall, they've already adjourned his matter. So he has died like a rat, died in chains. They actually covered him in chains when he died, and they had to remove the handcuffs while they were about to pull the bed.
Thomas was arrested in relation to the Anglophone crisis and charged with terrorist-related activities.
Ngayu's crime was that he instigated or he joined lawyers and teachers. Ngayu is neither a teacher nor a lawyer, but he found himself that way, and he was charged with other terrorism-related offenses. And his case was pending in court. He stayed in prison from the 3rd of July 2017 right up to the 5th of August 2020, when he gave up the ghost amidst very troubling circumstances. And to please those who are persecuting him, we see this with a lot of morosity. We are downcast when we speak about issues like this. It's so unfortunate that we watch things happen like that, and then we watch ourselves, lawyers, being helpless in the face of injustice.
His lawyer decries the fact that they were unable to meet their client due to hierarchical issues.
So difficult since the outbreak of it, the authorities like the superintendent of the central prison, in Tadu Modi, when you approach him, he tells you that you should go to hierarchy. The hierarchy is the minister in charge of penitentiary administration and the minister of justice. A lawyer should go to the Minister of Justice. I would go to the Minister in charge of Penitentiary Administration to get a fiat before you access clearance. So while you stand in front of that same prison, you see people who are trafficking others entering, and the people pay money to access even their brothers and sisters. The prison authorities, at the instructions of hierarchy in Cameroon, the name hierarchy. Each time you come, they say, they used to the hierarchy. And the instructions of the hierarchy are not posted anywhere. They are not posted anywhere in prison for lawyers to even see it.
It is reported that there was a standoff at the Kondengin Central Prison this Wednesday, with some inmates asking the superintendent for an independent inquiry, which led to the death of Thomas Tangem, who died on August 5 at the Yaoundé Central Hospital.
The Cameroon Volleyball Federation has put an end to its season abruptly due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The decision taken by the Executive Committee of the Federation ends the association's 3 weeks competition, which began before the outbreak of the pandemic. The measure, they say, is in line with barrier measures against the pandemic, as well as a move to align the national program with the international volleyball calendar. And that does it for the primetime newscast on STV. Thank you very much for watching. More news comes up at 8 p.m. in the French language. From the entire team in Douala, have a good night. Bye-bye.